In the high plateaus of Tibet, flowing 5,200 meters above sea level, the Mekong River traverses 4,700 meters of mountainous terrain before reaching the province of Yunnan in the south, just 500 meters above sea level. Along its way, it irrigates an immense territory that crosses Burma, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia and Vietnam. The Mekong has turned the region into the Earth's #1 producer of rice. And beyond rice, the river feeds a wealth of other fruits and vegetables, making the region the world's vegetable garden. It is also a land of horticulture, supplying international flower markets with orchids and other blossoms. Our voyage begins in the river's delta in southern Vietnam, where we visit the fertile lands of Great Mekong and see some lively markets, both floating and land-based. This is Can Tho, a floating market teeming with life, where fruits and vegetables rule the day's exchanges between buyers and vendors. This is Dan Van Dong. He has been a fruit seller for the past 30 years. Today, he deals in watermelons. The entire family is involved in the business. They own 2 boats, one for business and the other for living. 3 generations are assembled here. His wife takes care of the till.
Count well, don't make any mistakes.
I cannot make mistakes. I know what I'm doing.
Even I can make a mistake. For the business, one has to be honest.
The Van Dongs are well respected by their clients, and that support helps them to survive.
Here you have 765 kilos.
I only have 27,000,009.
You are about 30,000 short.
And I still owe you 100 kilos from the last time.
Once all the watermelons have been sold, vendors like the Van Dongs make their way back up the Mekong towards the farmlands to replenish their supplies. This economic model is fairly widespread in countries that border the southern part of the Mekong River: Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Laos. These family-run businesses facilitate the distribution of produce from smallholders. This way of life, where work and play are interwoven, is part of the culture. There is a strong solidarity within the family unit, calling on individuals to meld within the group, which in turn nurtures and provides security.
Is this Mao there?
Yes, she is to marry on the 3rd.
Will the ceremony be on the boat?
It would be easier ashore.
So will it be on the boat or ashore? Tell me.
Ashore would be much easier.
The lives of these small vendors, whether they trade on water or on dry land, is conditioned by the crops, the rhythm of harvests, and the cycle of seasons. Millions of men and women here follow this way of life, and their desire is that it continues this way. That is not to say that life on a boat is easy. Still, they seem to find a way to make do with the lack of privacy and other discomforts. This way of life is probably less precarious than it seems.
There's two ways to get rich in Russia. You go into business for yourself, or you steal. He was imprisoned for both.
Russian commandos today seized Russia's richest man from his plane in Siberia, took him to a Moscow court.
Held at gunpoint and charged with stealing $30 billion from his own company.
The initial charges that were brought against Khodorkovsky, Russians could look at those and say those kind of things were going on in the 1990s. Maybe he did it. But with the new charges, the idea that the entire revenues of Yukon were somehow being embezzled is something that a lot of people have much more difficulty imagining could be possible.
Life looks very different in Ho Chi Minh City, formerly Saigon. We are at a stock exchange with Nguyang Quang Bao, who at 29 is already managing an investment company. After the Vietnam War, or the American War as it is called here, the economy was sluggish. But the export market began to grow exponentially and the economy took off. Shaped by Western skills and ideologies, a new generation of white-collar workers has found a place in an economy now described as emerging.
Dear guests, comrades, last year the Vietnamese market has been buoyant. Our index went on increasing, evidencing the fact that the quality of the titles of the market is higher. I now declare the Vietnamese Stock Exchange officially open. Thank you.
This is a big day for Quang Bao. The new section of the stock exchange will allow him to undertake national operations without interference from international markets. He wants to focus on companies with a high export potential and take advantage of the growing global demand for commodities and agricultural products. For Quang Bao, the future looks bright. Great opportunities are in store for people like him who are willing to work hard. As long as Vietnam can continue to deliver much demanded agricultural commodities, then nothing can stop Quang Bao. He is currently taking an interest in a sugarcane company that he would like to help develop.
If a shareholder buys new shares, and that he's one of the shareholders we already know, what are we to do?
Will he have a second portfolio or only one?
Historical shareholders already have accounts. If they buy new shares, they will be recorded in this account. If we are to use the same account, are we to issue a separate document or not?
Behind much of Vietnam's remarkable economic development is the cultivation of rice. By harnessing the waters of the Mekong to abundantly irrigate regions in the south, the country has become one of the largest exporters of rice in the world. It is not unusual for a farmer in the region to cultivate and harvest as much as 7 crops in less than a 2-year period. What's true for Vietnam is also true for China and the rest of the Great Mekong region. With its perfect alchemy of favorable climate, fertile lands and abundant water, the region has been growing rice for more than 3,500 years. Here, in Yunnan, terraced rice fields overlook the Mekong. This is Hu Pai Lang Pai of the Hani ethnic tribe. He lives in a village called Ray Shuing Tang. He is a Bayema, a traditional singer who recounts the myths and legends of his people and teaches ancestral rice-growing techniques. Before the baby rice shoots can be planted, the ground must be prepared and the water in the rice fields warmed by the sun. The women are in charge of planting the shoots. They work in unison. The work progresses to the rhythm of the Bayema's song, who is in turn inspired by the echoes of the women's chants. The transplantation needs to be done very quickly after the seedlings have sprouted. Delays could have adverse consequences on the next harvest. This way of life, which is centered on the cultivation of rice, is common to other regions of the Great Mekong. The particular climate here allows for multiple harvests every year, securing a daily staple for local populations. Methods for cultivation and harvesting can vary markedly according to the layout of the land, local customs and the traditions of different ethnic groups. Here in Burma, for example, women use a spear to plant the shoots. Still in Burma, it is the men who look after the harvest. Afterwards, the rice tufts are left outside to dry. Back in Yunnan, the terrace rice fields are also being harvested. Unlike Western methods that require sophisticated machinery, things here are done by hand, using techniques mastered through endless repetition. In the kitchens, the daily rice is prepared in a number of different ways: sticky, plain, or in the form of flat rice bread, which is easier to preserve. The basis for these delicious noodles is a rice paste, prepared with methods that can vary from one ethnic group to another, or even from one cook to another, depending on the desired result. Lastly, the large, thin rice sheets, which are heated in a wok to obtain a dry crepe, are a staple in many of Europe's Asian eateries. Diners from around the world love these delicate crepes, which can be preserved for long periods of time. They are easy to carry and can be nibbled on as snacks. For the past few years, things have been changing in this part of the world. There are many new research programs which look into a range of issues, from how rice is grown to how it is conditioned and packaged for export. The authorities recognize the importance of rice in their regional economy and the need to maintain the health and diversity of this white gold. In terms of packaging, for example, exporters understand that health and safety regulations are more stringent in the importing countries of the Northern Hemisphere than in the neighbouring countries of Asia. Back in Kanto, in the Mekong Delta, a fresh new day is about to start. Those who are lucky enough to own a plot of land also join the hubbub of the busy aquatic market on their small, narrow boats. Once again, the river community will engage in 1,000 exchanges. And while their lives are bound to this form of aquatic trade and its inherent discomforts, their happiness on water appears to be buoyant. The Van Dong family is in the midst of preparing a feast. Their second son is married and lives on a different boat, He is coming today to share a meal with the rest of the family.
Don't put too much salt.
Don't worry. You will drink more tea if it is too salted. That's what boiling water is for.
No, it is to wash the dishes.
This food is much too spicy.
No, not this dish. We should have put less tomatoes.
While the quality of the water may leave much to be desired, the children are happy. Back in Ho Chi Minh City, Quang Bao is on his way to the headquarters of the sugarcane company.
Let us study what we still have to do as of today. We'll find the mistakes that have been made and rectify them. Should there be emergencies, we'll take care of them quickly. And should there be problems, we'll solve them now.
At present, the problem is that we did not buy what should have been bought. They might sell their shares. If something unexpected were to happen between now and D-Day, they might sell their shares. But anyway, we have to set a deadline. Whoever asks for it, we will grant him an account for the new and the old shares.
Shouldn't we split the account with the new shares on one side and the old ones on the other?
The goal of the meeting with the former shareholders of the company was to settle any uncertainties prior to the issue of stocks on the stock exchange. A tour of the facility is needed to reassure the parties involved in the negotiations. Quang Bao's client is already well established, but like other Vietnamese companies in his industry, he needs funds to modernize, to upgrade his industrial equipment. The visit is a success and the operation is given the go-ahead. In other parts of Great Mekong, thousands of hands are engaged in the picking of fruit across vast plains made fertile by the river. Nature has been generous to the region's farmers, supplying a profusion of fruit: green bananas, lychees, apples. They can be found in hundreds of fruit and vegetable markets, such as in this land-based market in Bangkok. Much like the floating market we've already seen at Can Tho, there is exuberance here, and it is lively 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Amid the whirlwind of activity, each individual seems to know where he needs to go in order to take part in the exchange. The men and women of Mekong bring creative solutions to life's practical questions, often working long hours and into the middle of the night. The people here identify with a world that is at once fleeting and tangible, magical and unreal. Each meeting, smile or gesture swells a tide rich in humanity. There is a strong sense of belonging here, which in fact is part of the soul of this people. From time to time, monsoon rains remind us of the region's tropical temperament. But these climatic disruptions are simply a part of everyday life. At Canto, the Van Dong supply of watermelons is steadily diminishing, and they will soon need to be replenished. But first, there is a wedding to prepare.
Hello, elder sister. Will the family of the groom be coming for the wedding? Okay. Okay. I shall be there. I shall be there.
While the Van Dongs live on their boat, they maintain strong relations with each of their extended families. They frequently gather for seasonal celebrations, birthdays, weddings and funerals. Family bonds are preserved and even extended at these events.
I shall wear my owl dye that way. I shall wear it over my trousers.
These occasions offer the opportunity to go ashore and shop for clothing and other personal items that are not available on the river markets.
They are preparing everything before the wedding.
Aren't we too early?
No problem.
Thank you to the bride's family for their help. We owe them this wedding. I cannot find the right words to express my gratitude. I offer them my most sincere respects for having organized this ceremony.
Please cheer. We have this banquet with the gratitude of the family of the bridegroom who organized this ceremony, and at their request we wish the young couple a very long and happy life together. As your host and the eldest of the bride's family, I wish to toast the eldest member of the bridegroom's family. Come on, let's drink to the happiness of the newlyweds.
I will be seriously drunk if I finish my glass in one gulp.
That evening, back at the boat, the family gathers to watch a classic TV series featuring characters from another era. The younger members of the family do not quite grasp the plot. Only the older generation seem to follow.
Three Hares' life is so different from mine.
Yes, you're right to look attentively. What is the story about?
What does it mean, 3 hairs?
Is this him with 3 hairs on his head?
Is he the youngest?
Are you sure?
But it's not complicated. It really is the one with only 3 hairs on his head.
We find Quang Bao in a very different setting. Despite his day job as a trader, he's still only 29 years old, a young man who enjoys hanging out with friends to play sports or talk about anything under the sun. It is dusk in Ho Chi Minh City. Saigon was once a small fishing village. Today, it has become Vietnam's business capital and a city that never sleeps. Much like in Bangkok, the Thai capital, it never closes down. Flowers have a special place here. And for 10 million of the city's inhabitants, they are an offering to be safeguarded. Many streets are transformed at night into flower markets, which are just as extraordinary as the fruits and vegetable markets we've seen in other parts of the region, lively and plentiful. The flower trade takes place at night in order to avoid hot temperatures and intense daylight. It helps to prolong the life of the cut flowers. Here, an endless succession of nocturnal negotiations, orders and transactions take place at such a frenetic pace that business here has left its mark on the world market. We return to southwest China to explore the secrets behind the remarkable development of the horticultural industry. We meet a horticulturalist called Hua Minsheng, who lives in Dunan, near Kunming, the capital of the Chinese province Yunnan. As we've seen, the climate in Great Mekong nurtures the cultivation of tea and rice, as well as fruits and vegetables. But flowers also flourish here. Since 1989, horticulture has surpassed vegetable farming. Yunnan was once home to tobacco plantations, but these have largely been replaced by flowers. Farms are being converted and small horticultural plantations are being swallowed up by industrial-scale greenhouses. Becoming a horticulturalist has changed Huang Minsheng's life. Roses were his first speciality, and while rose cultivation remains an important part of his business, his heart is set on expanding productions and getting into orchid cultivation. But for the moment, he must work with his staff to prepare flowers for the Dunan auction, the biggest market in China. It is from here that his most remote clients are sent their flowers. This is To Sha Fen, who has become a role model for Hua Minsheng. Thailand's floral tradition has made it the #1 exporter of orchids, and To Sha Fen is one of many horticultural producers in the country that is so often called the Kingdom of Orchids. With more than 1,000 horticultural farms like that of To Sha Fen's surrounding Bangkok, it's easy to imagine the weight of this market in Thailand's overall economy. Agriculture is the country's most important sector, employing more than half of all workers. And while rice is the #1 export, orchids, the national symbol, follows closely behind. One of the great advantages of the orchid is that it blooms all year round, thanks to the region's favourable climate. This provides for a constant stream of business and employment. The horticultural industry in Thailand is valued at over $500 million. Its main export markets include Japan, the United States and Europe. With the help of his staff, To Sha Fen is now preparing flowers for the Bangkok market. Some 1,200 orchids must be ready for delivery before 10 a.m. They will then be taken to Bangkok airport and loaded on a cargo plane. In less than 24 hours, the flowers will arrive at their final destination in Europe. Meanwhile, Minsheng's roses have been packed, and he is taking them to the Dunan market. This landscape, which might take Western viewers to the south of Spain, is a mark of the profound changes that have already taken place. Upon delivery, the flowers are numbered, recorded and catalogued. In these sterile facilities, they are readied for transportation, entering the realm of an economy that is largely managed electronically. Nature's splendor has found its economic niche. Domesticated, packaged and commercialized, floral beauty can now be enjoyed by people across Thailand and around the world. The Dunan market near Kunming in the Chinese province of Yunnan is the mecca of the flower trade in Great Mekong.
The last one, ice cream. 3 ice cream and Yolian. Great.
Oriole, 75 centimeters. Very beautiful.
Li Guangguang's Oriole. No offer.
Let's go back to Oriole 70. Now Chen's Oriole plus 265. Well done. One more, 80. That's better. 80, 80, 80.
Color Star by Xinglong.
55, 55. Once more.
Okay, 987. Rose. Forget me not. This 21st century auction will seal the fate of millions of flowers. The volume of trade carried out here was recently estimated at more than $500 million a year. Minsheng's entire lot of 2,000 roses has been sold to a trader from Singapore, who has ironically purchased them for one of his Thai clients. After the auction that afternoon, the roses will be packaged and loaded for immediate delivery to Bangkok.
Back on board with the Van Dongs, it is time for household chores. The remaining watermelons have been sold. It is time to return upstream. The family finalizes preparations the evening before, as they are setting out before sunrise. They want to get a head start before the river becomes congested by swarms of other small vendors. By the time the sun has risen, the family has made good progress and will be able to navigate down a network of small tributaries which simplify the transport of their produce.
Over there. We shall moor here.
Any of them?
No, not any of them. I don't want any of the bad ones.
Không năm rồi về nóng nóng lạnh luôn. Mới 2 tháng rồi gì? Đang tiếp mệnh thôi. Đâu? Sao rồi? Đâu? Nước trong tầm.
Look, 40 kilos.
That's right, 40 kilos.
The boat is filled to the brim and the family journeys back. Sales from today's stocks will allow them to live for a few weeks. But the eldest son is worried. He's not sure how much longer they will be able to go on living this way. Today is Quang Bao's big day. The fundraising event, on which he has been working for over 2 months, is scheduled for this morning. A lot is at stake. The stock market can be unpredictable. A few last-minute details to settle, and an important client to motivate. And then he'll have to wait it out. The shareholders are playing their hand, and Quang Bao's fate with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to give you some additional information on this operation. Baja Sugar Company will therefore issue 1.62 million of shares on the market. The nominal value of each share will be 10,000 dongs, but its starting reserve value is 26,000 dongs.
Your attention, please. 6 minutes before the closing offer.
At last, the verdict is in. The subscriptions have been totaled up, and it's a victory. The funds have been raised, and there's even an oversubscription. For Quang Bao, this has been somewhat of an initiation. He's proven himself perfectly capable of managing a complex operation. He can finally go home. After 2 months away from his family, they are happily reunited. Quang Bao, his wife and 2 daughters are the making of a modern family in 21st century Vietnam. They do not adhere to the traditional image of the family unit, but instead proudly to a new kind of westernized model, a sign of a new era for Vietnam, and a modern symbol for the great Mekong region. The family's ideology now rests on individual success. Quang Bao's social accession seems well assured, and soon enough he will be able to gauge his own success in much the same way as he measures his daughter's growth. The financial markets of the Western world are becoming a part of the social and economic fabric of Great Mekong. This process seems natural. All things on a large scale seem to fold within the rules of globalization. It remains to be seen whether the people of Mekong will find a way to protect themselves from the most harmful impacts of capitalism. The question is, what do the gods make of all this? How do they evaluate the expansion of a utilitarian mode of thought, so profoundly ingrained in a reasoning based purely on economics? The question is, what do the gods make of all this? The children of Mekong will no doubt see the threat that looms over them.